What's going on, everyone? Today, while I'm trying to survive on one of the most chaotic PvP servers in Project Zomboid, I want to tell you a story that sounds almost unbelievable. It's a story about a player who achieved what many people thought was impossible, a player who was praised by the community, a player who became a legend. And then, years later, everything came crashing down. This is the story of one of the biggest controversies in the history of Call of Duty Zombies. Before we get into the scandal itself, we need to understand why high round records are such a big deal. For people outside the zombies community, reaching a high round might sound simple. Just survive. Keep killing zombies. Don't die. But anyone who has actually attempted a serious high round run knows that's not how it works. These runs can take hundreds of hours. They require incredible concentration, consistency, and patience. One mistake can erase days of progress. One crash can destroy an entire attempt. And sometimes the game itself becomes your biggest enemy. That's why when players claim incredible records, the community pays attention. Some records become legendary. People talk about them for years. Videos get millions of views. Entire careers can be built around a single achievement. But what happens when one of those achievements isn't what it appears to be? The story begins with a player who seemed to have done the impossible. His gameplay looked legitimate. His streams appeared convincing. People respected him. Other players looked up to him. Everything seemed normal, at least on the surface. Over time, the record became part of Zombies' history. New players learned about it. Veterans referenced it. It became one of those achievements that everyone simply accepted as fact. And that's exactly why nobody questioned it. Most scandals don't start with obvious evidence. They start with small details, tiny inconsistencies, questions that seem unimportant at first. Years later, another group of dedicated players began investigating certain mechanics inside the game, not because they were trying to expose anyone. They were simply trying to understand how the game worked. The deeper they looked, the more strange things they found. Certain numbers didn't seem to add up. Certain outcomes seemed statistically unlikely. Certain events appeared inconsistent with how the game normally behaves. At first, these discoveries didn't prove anything, but they created doubt. And doubt is dangerous when a world record is involved. The community started asking questions. Could the run really have happened exactly the way it was presented? Was everything truly legitimate? Or had people simply accepted the achievement without examining it closely enough? The investigation continued. More tests were performed. More evidence appeared. Players began recreating situations, running experiments, comparing footage, analyzing game mechanics. Slowly, a picture started forming, and that picture wasn't good. The more information surfaced, the harder it became to ignore the possibility that something wasn't right. Then came the moment nobody expected. The player finally responded. Instead of denying everything, he admitted that the record wasn't legitimate. Years of admiration disappeared almost instantly. The community was shocked. Some people were angry. Others were disappointed. Many simply couldn't believe it. For years, this achievement had been treated as one of the greatest accomplishments in Zombies history. Now it was being removed from that conversation entirely. And that's where the real damage happened. Records aren't just numbers, they're history. Every world record represents time, effort, and sacrifice. When someone cheats, they aren't only breaking rules, they're taking recognition away from other players who followed those rules. Players who spent hundreds or even thousands of hours competing honestly. That's why scandals like this hurt communities so much. The trust disappears. Every future achievement becomes harder to believe. Every new record faces more skepticism. And honestly, that's understandable. Because if one of the biggest records can turn out to be fake, what else could be wrong? The good news is that communities learn from situations like this. Verification methods improve. Rules become stricter. Evidence requirements increase. The goal isn't to make records impossible to achieve. The goal is to make sure that when someone finally reaches an incredible milestone, everyone knows it was earned legitimately. In the end, this story isn't really about one player. It's about trust. It's about competition. And it's about how easily people can accept something as true when they want to believe it. Maybe that's the biggest lesson here. Sometimes the most impressive achievements deserve the most scrutiny. Not because we want people to fail, but because genuine accomplishments deserve to be protected. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you believe players who cheat should ever be forgiven if they eventually tell the truth? Or should a record be remembered only for how it was achieved? While you think about that, I'm going to keep trying to survive on this Project Zomboid PvP server. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.